So what is the best, the number one, the most efficient script when you're trying to convert internet leads? Today, that's exactly what we're going to be diving into. We're going to be talking about what to do when you start generating leads and start making those phone calls. And look, when I say this is the best script, I don't mean this is the best script because I say it's the best script. I mean, this is the best script because this is what I learned when I was running the lead generation department for a top real estate team in the country, when I was running the ISA department for that same team. At one point, we had over 30 ISAs. This is the script that we were training the ISAs who were working internet leads to use. So this script has been used for tens of thousands of leads. So this is why I would say this is the best script. And I would say if anybody says differently, they're using a variation that has worked slightly better in their market. But this, hands down, best script for converting real estate leads. But before we can dive into what that script is, how you need to deliver it, and why it's going to be so powerful for you, we need to talk about the difference between converting every single lead that you get and converting the right leads. If you've ever received a cold call, if you've ever filled out a form for information, you've probably talked to somebody that was trying to sell you something. Now, here's the issue. If you are looking to buy something and they're trying to sell something, you've got the perfect match. But the reality is that not everybody is a real hot lead right now. One thing my coach told me when I was getting started in real estate was, guess what? We're not trying to turn the entire river to gold. We're prospecting to find a few golden nuggets. And you need to understand, we're not magicians. You're not going to make someone buy or sell a house. We don't have that kind of power. So identifying whether or not you should actually be focused on booking a listing appointment or a showing appointment or an in-office appointment with this person is key to making the script work. Also, if you're looking to take more listings and take more control in your business, check out the free training. It's the top link in the description. Now, the other thing that's key to making this script work is the person who's delivering the script. If you've ever made a cold call, if you've ever tried to convert an internet lead, if you've ever had a sign call, if you've ever talked to anybody on the phone and attempted to sell something to them, then you've probably realized that there are some people that are better at it than others. But how do we actually get to the point where this script can start to convert the internet leads that we're trying to convert? The reality is you have to practice. You have to get good at the script. The person saying the script can be more powerful than the script itself. That doesn't mean they get to say whatever they want. They don't need a script. But just understand, when you're getting started, you may not be at the level you need to be to use that script. It doesn't mean the script doesn't work. It means that you're not there yet. But how do you actually get better? Well, you need to be recording your calls. If you're not recording your calls, I highly recommend you do so that you can go through, listen to those calls, find out, hey, what did I say right? What did I say wrong? Where did I lose this person? Was I trying to convert somebody that's not actually interested in buying or selling real estate? So with that, let's dive into the script. But before we do that, if you are not already, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop me a comment and let me know what is your biggest struggle with converting leads right now. Now, we're gonna be focused on internet leads, so you're actually gonna be calling them. An inbound sign call or something like that is gonna be way easier than internet leads in general, and so if you're getting those, you can still use the same script, but just know it's gonna be way easier than if you're calling them. So a new lead comes in. What are you doing first? Well, the first thing you're doing, picking up that phone and you're calling them. You want to call them within 10, 15, 30 seconds. I mean, as fast as you can, because people have a short attention span. So you get the lead, you dial their number, they answer. Hello, here's what you say. Hi, this is Matt from the real estate company, and we received your request for more information on listing or list of homes. Typically, those are going to be the two things that you're using. If you're using Facebook or Google Ads, they're typically going to give you some sort of a reply right here. Oh yeah, we found it. We're just looking. Oh, thanks for calling. We're not really interested. You know, something like that. Now, this is just basic buyer defense system, right? You walk into a furniture store. What do? The first thing somebody comes up, they say, hey, how can we help you? What are you looking for? Blah, blah, blah. You're going to say, oh, it's all right. I'm just looking. right? Because we don't want that person breathing down our neck while we're walking around trying to sit on beds or couches and look at coffee tables and whatever. We just want to look around and see if they have anything we're even interested in. This is the same frame of mind that buyer is in when they inquire on your lead form or on your ad or whatever it is that they're inquiring. So they tell us whatever their basic defense is, or maybe sometimes they will actually give you really good information off that first question when you just say, we're responding to your request for more information on the property down on 123 Main Street. We're responding to your request for a list of homes under the price of $200,000. So whatever it is, you're saying it, see what they say, right? Find out what they're gonna say. Find out if they're giving you a defense or if they're giving in and they really want your help. So they say, oh, we're just looking, we're just this, blah, blah, blah. What you say next is simple. Now you say it very simply. So you're in the market to buy a home. Now we're trying to get them to identify whether or not that statement or question is true or is it false. Are they in the market to buy a home or are they not? This is where you'll run into those people that are like, actually, I'm looking for my son. He's getting married in 3 months and he needs to move out of the basement. And we're trying to see if there's houses around that he could move into. And we just want to encourage him to find something. You get all kinds of stuff after that question. No, we didn't even fill that out. I don't know how that happened. My phone must have slipped. My kid must have done it. My dog was messing with my phone and its nose entered all my information and put it in on your website. Just know you're going to run into some crazy stuff and it's okay. We're just trying to break through that buyer defense in this beginning piece. There are times where I've had people say, no, we're not really, and you kind of hear the hesitancy in their voice and I literally just ignore it. Like, no, we're not really interested in buying a house right now. We don't really think about moving very often. And we definitely didn't go to any open houses in the last 2 weeks. Whatever it is, right? And I've just ignored it and moved on to the next question. Perfect. So what location or what areas are you most interested in? I mean, if you had to narrow it down. Now, you'll be surprised how many people have said they're not interested, but they've got several areas that they're looking at homes in because they're thinking about possibly, if the moon is full and the tides, they're thinking about it, okay? So find out where they're thinking about it. Get that location from them. Once you have the location, you can build a little rapport. Oh, that's great. What brings you to Royal Oak? And be careful on this one because if you say something like, why do you want to move to Royal Oak? That can come off very negative. And this goes back to how long you've been doing this, your practice, how many times you've done it. So we've got that location from them. Now we know what they're looking at. We're starting to build a little bit of rapport with them. Now we're probably aware of what the price is in that location, but not everybody else is. So that's the number we want to ask next. So the listing that you inquired on is listed at $325. Is that around the price point that you wanted to be at? When you say this, make sure you say that in a positive light, because if you say is around $325, that tone is telling people you don't think they can afford it. So make sure you say very, very clear, very cleanly. So that one's listed at $325. Is that the price point that you wanted to be around? And if they say, no, that's a little high for what we're looking for. Okay, perfect. So tell me a little bit about the price that we want to find a house in. Tell me a little bit about the price that we're looking to stay under. Tell me a little bit about the price that you feel comfortable with. Now, again, these are all phrases that I will use interchangeably depending on the person that I'm talking to and what that conversation looks like so far. Next, we're gonna dive in, we're gonna grab their motivation. Why are they moving? And this is probably the most important piece of the entire script. What has them looking at making a move? What has them moving locations? Why are they leaving their rental, their current home, their parents' basement, and moving? What has them doing this? The motivation is going to give us more information about their timeline, their price point, how serious they are as a buyer than anything else we can ask them. Now, this is a very simple question, but it really depends on how you say it. What has you making a move? If you say it positive like that, you're going to be fine. What has you making a move? Now it's like, what's going on? Are you guys safe? Should I send a cop? Blink twice if you're in danger. We don't want that. We want to keep that rapport working all the way through this thing. We want to stay on track with these people or the person that we're on the phone with so that we are even keel and they can trust us and we're diving into that rapport. So when you say this, you want to be really lighthearted because this question can be super personal and we don't know if it is or is not yet. So we're going to ask it lighthearted. So what has you guys making a move? Just lighthearted, ask the questions, stay in rapport, be happy with the person because we want them to give us something to play off for the next part of the question. Because typically they're going to say, we'd like to get a bigger house. We'd like to get a smaller house. And these are not real motivations. These are what we call the goals. These are the false motivations. We want the real deal. We want the real motivation. We want the reason they want to downsize or the reason they need a bigger house. So when they say, we're thinking about getting something a little bit bigger, we're thinking about getting something a little bit smaller, ask them why, and not just how come, why, and here's how you do it. Repeat and affirm, then ask the question. So something a little bit bigger than your current house, perfect. And what has you looking at something a little bigger? We're just gonna ask, we need a little bit more room. Okay. Well, we'd like a little bit more space, whatever it is. We have to dig. And sometimes this can get uncomfortable, but that's where your experience is gonna help you find that line. Because you don't wanna push somebody away by asking too many questions, but you need to find out what their motivation is, because that's really going to help you with how to follow up and how to connect. Now, with people that I've talked to in the past, they've wanted to downsize for reasons of health. Maybe they didn't want stairs in the house. Maybe they didn't want to have to deal with the pain in their knees going down the stairs. Maybe they didn't want a bigger yard because they couldn't maintain it anymore. Their health wasn't great. Health is a very big reason that people downsize or move in general. When people want to upsize, a lot of times there's an event in their life. Maybe it's another kid, maybe it's another dog. Maybe they've been saving for a long time and they've been living in a small house or living well under their means, and they're finally at a point where they feel like they can get to a larger house. And that's fine, but we want to try to find out some of this information. The more we can connect with these people on the phone call, the easier the in-person appointments are going to be. And again, when you can relate things back to their real motivation, it's gonna be so much easier than trying to say, well, this house is bigger. Well, this house is smaller. So what's the problem? And if things start to get uncomfortable, one of the things that you can do, this is called the motivation script, you just say, hey, look, I wanna make sure that my motivation to find you a house matches your motivation to actually move into a new house. So help me with that. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning we've got all the time in the world, 10 meaning we'd like to be in the next 30 days, how would you rate yourself as a buyer on that scale from 1 to 10? Now, once they give us that number, we're simply going to repeat it, clarify it. So they're gonna say something a lot of times around, so a 6 or a 7. Okay, so if it takes a year to 2 years, that's not gonna be an issue. And they're gonna go, oh no, we'd like to be in there in the next 3 to 6 months. And it's like, okay, perfect. Or they'll say something like, we'd like to be in there before school starts, whatever. Again, we're trying to find some real information on their motivation so we can dial in a timeline and we can connect with them on a more personal level. The next thing we want to do is clarify they don't already have an agent. Now, this is something that we're going to do very nonchalantly, very quickly. We're going to ask, we're going to move on. We're not going to have people sitting there going, well, I talked to one agent in 2017 that was at an open house. They seemed like a pretty nice person. We might think about using them again. No, like if it's an internet lead, here's what we're doing. We're going to assume number one, that they're not, and here's how we do that. And I assume because you registered on our website, you guys aren't working exclusively with any real estate agent yet. That's all we're saying. And we'll find out, are they exclusively working with any real estate agents yet? If they say yes, then we're going to ask them. Perfect. And have you guys signed a buyer agency agreement with them? If they say yes, at that point, we now, as real estate agents, cannot continue that conversation. We have to let them know and politely end the call. If they are not signed with a buyer's agency agreement and they're not working exclusively with an agent, we are free to move forward. So next, we're going to ask them a very important question, but we're going to do it very carefully because we don't want to offend them. And people get offended by this question all the time if you're not careful. So here's how we find out. Are they pre-approved? Are they using cash? Are they getting a mortgage? And are you planning on financing or paying cash? Now, when I say that, again, paying cash, like we're just saying it as an option. It's not a requirement. We don't want to say it like, hey, are you planning on financing or are you paying cash? Right? Because we don't want them to feel bad if they're financing. We also don't want them to feel weird if they have enough money. Like we have never talked to somebody with that much money in our lives and we're a brand new agent, right? We don't want to be tipping those things off. So that one, finding out their mortgage, very simple. We're simply saying, so are you planning on financing or using cash? Once they tell us, oh, we're going to be using financing. Perfect. And have you talked to a mortgage lender yet? We want to find out. Are they pre-approved? Are they not? And if they haven't talked to somebody, get them in touch with yours because chances are you as an agent have somebody who can get the deal closed, who's going to pick up the phone at 8:30 at night after you did a showing and they're ready to write an offer and 17 other people are as well. Never feel bad for moving them to your lender if you have a better service to offer. Finally, the close. And this is the simple but easiest thing to mess up. So they're a buyer, they're not selling a house. If they're selling a house, you do the appointment at their house. If they're not selling a house, you're gonna do the appointment in your office. It's very simple. Perfect. And what's the best day this week for you to come down to the office where you can meet me, I'll meet you, we'll get you in our system so that we can get you approved to see houses. Now, you always want to meet your buyers in person first. That is a safety issue. That is something anybody that I talk to, I never recommend that somebody meet somebody out at a showing. If this is the first time you're meeting somebody, you meet them in the office. You get their information, you feel them out. You make sure you don't have somebody who wants to put you in a trunk as a realtor. Realtors, because we're paid on commission, a lot of times are very eager to go out to a house with somebody that they've never met that is likely going to be empty. This is not a safe situation, and you should always be meeting people in the office first. Anybody who says different probably doesn't know how to convert to an in-office appointment. Now, if you'd like a PDF version of this script, I will put a link to it down below in the comments. With that, I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope you'll stick around to watch some of the others.